have to raise their speakers. They're in person.
Good evening. The time is now 6:51. We will go into the public portion of School Board 186's meeting for June 7th, 2021.
Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Take all the stuff out.
Okay. 4.1, approval of the agenda. Have a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion with regards to approving the agenda for tonight, June 7th, 2021? Seeing none, Ms. Hammers?
Austin.
Aye.
Blissett.
Aye.
Lael Wolf.
Aye.
Mars.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Ringer.
Aye.
Zimmers.
Aye.
That is 7.
Moving on to 5.1, President's Comments. Public comments will occur during the public comments portion of the meeting. If you're interested in addressing the board, fill out the required public participation form and submit it to Ms. Hammers. Please email your name, phone number, and topic of the discussion for agenda item number to boe@sbs186.org if you wish to participate via telephone. Thank you. Turn it over to Superintendent Gill, 6.1, Superintendent's Report.
Hold up on the screen behind me. All right, and as we always do at every board meeting, celebrating District 186 is a big enjoyment of mine, and we had a lot to celebrate. So your first slide is showing our graduates. We graduated 778 graduates over the weekend with over $26 million in scholarships offered to them. These are just some snapshots of our 3 ceremonies. It went amazing this weekend. We had assigned seats and dedicated seating. Each graduate got up to 8 spots, and they were spread out, but everybody were champs with that. And we just had 3 great ceremonies and a beautiful day to host the graduations. If you go on to the next slide, you'll see our Lee School graduates. They celebrated both the 2020 class and the 2021 graduates. Some of these students have been at Lee School since 2005 and gone all the way through. And so we're very proud of them. We had a wonderful celebration. We had it outdoors, and they got their own individual cupcake cakes, so they were extremely excited about that, but a big celebration. And if you go on to the next slide, you'll see some pictures and snapshots from our Lawrence Education Center, as well as our NAACP. Their success was overwhelming. The students in these photos have overcome some challenges, but have shown success and have graduated and are moving on to some great things. So it was a great pleasure to be at both of those events on Friday night. So long weekend, but a fun weekend, one that I always look forward to. Not to be left out, on the next slide, you'll see a snapshot of Mrs. Gates from Lincoln Magnet School, but she was one of many who received a district bell this week. We give our retirees a bell that they can remember us by. It's sort of symbolic in our district. Many of them like to ring those loudly in the ears of others who are sticking around, and they enjoy that. She's obviously proudly displaying hers. We had 43 certified staff, which means teachers or other support that have certifications across the district, and also 16 of our classified staff retire. And Gina would like me to say at this point, because some decide to retire between now and the beginning of the school year, but we do wish them best of luck and thank them for their service to our district. This year has been a tough year for them to have as their last one, but we wanted to celebrate with them. We did deliver the bells to each individual school so that the retirees could at least have something feel special at this time of year. Usually we have a really nice dinner, but we couldn't do that at this point in time. So moving on to some other celebrations across our district, we had groundbreakings across the system for our projects. So Du Bois and Butler schools, about $7.5 million in improvements will go into these two schools combined over the summer and into the fall. Du Bois will have new classroom addition, new secure entrance from the southeast wing of the building, which is new. They usually came in off of Lincoln. They'll now be coming in off of Illinois. New office space, an elevator, renovated restrooms, and addition of a new road that is actually going to go from Lincoln to Illinois Street, provide a great drop-off spot for students that they've never had before, and provide some slotted parking as well. So they're very excited about that. And then Butler will receive new classroom addition, new secure entrance from the north end of the building, new office space and elevator, and that will remove 3 mobile units on that site. So we're very excited about that. If you move on to the next slide, you'll see a picture of what the groundbreaking kind of looked like there. We had 2 retired principals and the principal and principal assistant in the picture on the right. So we were happy to celebrate with Phyllis Janey and Ann Morris during that event. The next slide will show you Du Bois. They had some student ambassadors that came out and helped us dig shovels. Judy Johnson was able to attend, and she's so excited about our facilities project. Be there with us, and thanks to Sarah and Tony that also came along as well to many of the groundbreakings throughout the day. And then if you move on to the next slide, we have Blackhawk, Fairview, and Sandburg. There's going to be about $9.6 million in improvements across all 3 of those schools. Sandburg will receive a new classroom wing, infrastructure reorganization, removal of mobile units. There's 3 behind the building that you don't really see from the road, renovated kindergarten classrooms, and a new secure front entrance. Blackhawk will have abatement done, a new sprinkler system, new classroom space, and a new secure entrance and office space, and that will remove 2 mobile units. Fairview, addition of a library, art, music rooms, new classroom space, new secure entrance, and also new office spaces, and that will also remove 2 mobile units at Fairview as well. So here are some pictures from the Blackhawk ceremony. That is Graham Hyde Architects. So we had a lot of students. Mr. Jordan picked the students who had been at the school from kindergarten all the way through 5th grade to serve as his ambassadors that day. And then if you go on to the next slide, it's Fairview Elementary School, and we had some wonderful kindergartners who will be there and be there proudly for the rest of their schooling. And we also had Chris Hembrough attend several of our sessions from the Springfield Area Greater Chamber of Commerce, so that we could show their support, our support for him and the work that he's done to support the district and the 1-cent sales tax. And last but not least, Sandburg's groundbreaking was a lot of fun with Graham Hyde. They had some ambassadors come up, and we actually dug a hole in their front yard. We actually took the groundbreaking quite serious, so it was fun, and we had a good time. So very happy to do all of that. But we also have a groundbreaking coming soon party for Washington and Jefferson Middle School. So mark your calendars this coming Monday, June 14th at 10 o'clock at Washington Middle School and 10:45 at Jefferson Middle School. And that's IDG Architects. They will see about $10.3 million in improvements across the 2 schools with that renovation. So again, this could not be possible without the 1-cent sales tax. So we really thank the citizens of Springfield for making that possible and giving us permission to really build our vision for our preferred future here in District 186. So those were great celebrations. This is sort of an announcement. We want the community to know about a free football camp that's going to be sponsored by Malik Turner. Now, you all know I'm a Cowboy fan, so this is no problem for me to deliver this message. But bottom line is Malik was a student in District 186 from kindergarten through 8th grade and graduated from SHG, went on and graduated and played all 4 years at the University of Illinois. So he's making Springfield, Champaign, and many others very proud with his accomplishments. He's been signed on again with the Dallas Cowboys. He was with the Seattle Seahawks his first year. But he's going to come back, and it's a position camp. So if you get online, there's all the information in there about how to sign up, but it is completely free of charge. And we'd love to see many of our District 186 students out there learning and growing with Malik. And it says, compete with Malik. That's his nickname. Moving on, I just wanted to give a shout out to the Springfield Families Helping Families organization, specifically Catherine Eastervold and Megan Philpott, who are the coordinators. They went out and found volunteers, over 30, that on a regular basis delivered meals during the pandemic, during our time when we were completely closed, and also continuing to do so on Mondays when we had asynchronous learning. 5 days a week over the last 15 months, they've been ready to offer and deliver food to those who were still on remote learning or were on asynchronous Mondays. Just a snapshot, we have 5 sites that were serving food for our students on Mondays. We served 381 breakfasts and lunches delivered to 115 households just this last Monday. So just giving you an idea of what kind of work that took to deliver to 115 different houses each Monday, and then almost every day throughout the entire year. So just a big shout out to them. It really helped make our pandemic livable for some families during this time. Also wanted to give a shout out to the 2021 Lanphier Hall of Fame inductee ceremony. Our own Senator Doris Turner was congratulated. She was a 1971 LHS graduate, and also Colonel Thomas Weiss, who was a 1982 graduate of Lanphier High School. So that was a great ceremony, and wanted to give them a shout out and honor them as well here at the board meeting. Have a lot of celebrations this time of year, but our Abe Lincoln Regional Student Leadership Awards is sponsored by the Illinois Principals Association. So many of our administrators in the district belong to the IPA. And we had Kylie Parker, who's a senior at Lanphier High School, receive one of the awards. And we also had Ruby Goodmanley from Southeast High School receive one of these awards. Kylie is an outstanding leader, not only in playing arena, but also in the classroom. She's ranked near the top of her class and sets high academic standards for herself. Kylie exemplifies what a student-athlete role model should be. Those were words by her nominator. And then Ruby is a leader among her peers. She is captain of the soccer team, secretary of the student council, and she's also involved with Key Club, marching band, and the National Honor Society. And then we also had Springfield High School senior Avery Pound, who was a 2021 recipient of the Leadership Award. Avery is the definition of a student and community leader. He is the SHS Student Council President and esteemed leader of the CEO program, German Club, and National Honor Society. Avery is a 2-sport athlete, and he's the official athletic broadcaster for Springfield High. And he provides commentary for various boys and girls athletics at most events that were live streamed this year due to COVID. And additionally, Avery juggles his senior studies with volunteer experiences at the Minnie O'Byrne Crisis Nursery, works with agriculture and food banks, and also with younger students at his local church. Avery is headed to Cornell in August, and he will be greatly missed at Springfield High School. We have students going on to great and amazing things. I hope you all got to see our shout out in the newspaper this week too for some of our outstanding seniors. There's so many to share, but we are very proud of our students and where they're headed in the future. We also had an award of excellence by the Illinois Principals Association, nominated by her colleagues in the Abe Lincoln region. She's a nominee and the votes are still out. But Charlena Jackson, who is the former principal at the Early Learning Center, and we just approved her to be the new principal at Matheny Withrow starting in the fall. So we're voting regularly and often here at the district office and out in the schools of those members of IPA. But we're glad to have our name amongst many great administrators throughout the state of Illinois, and Matheny's lucky to have this outstanding principal coming their way. And then, last but not least, we wouldn't want to forget that we're going to have our senior movie night out because it's at Knights Action Park. And so that will be on the 13th of June. We're going to take over Knights Action Park. Any senior in District 186 can come and be a part of that great event. And we'll have door prizes, things that were donated by the various booster clubs. That begins, so they can start coming at 7. Obviously, the movies start at dusk, which they tell me is 8:28 on the dot that night. I don't know the name of the movies. The seniors got to pick what they wanted, so I'm sure it's a little scary and a little funny all mixed into one. But it is a double feature, so they will have a lot of fun. And it is only for Springfield District 186 seniors to attend. So hopefully all 3 of our high schools will come together and enjoy themselves that evening. It is free of charge. So they can bring their own snacks, just like any traditional nights out, or their food service will be also open and available for students, and I believe they just deliver it to their cars. So I think that's the end. Unless anybody has any questions for me, I'd like to thank all of you for attending at least one or some of the events this last week.
I don't have any questions. I would like to make a statement. I'd like to take this opportunity, since the school year is over, to thank all of our teachers, administrators, support staff, our students, our parents, for making this year work. I mean, our teachers have probably never worked so hard. Our teachers work hard anyway, but this has just been like triple the amount they've had to do. I get a little verklempt when I hear in the media or other people talk about this was a lost year for students. I take issue with that, because I think our teachers did a great job of having to go through several transitions. I think if students attended regularly, they had a lot of learning and a lot of learning opportunities. Those students that chose not to attend, yeah, it was a lost year for them. But I just want to give my hats off to everybody that did everything they could this year to make this work. And I think they need applauded, and families and students.
Thank you, Mr. Simerson. Thank you, Superintendent.
Sure.
Moving on to 7.1, old business. Do any members have any old business up for discussion? 7.2, new business. Do any members have any new business they'd like to bring before the board? 7.3, we have a board policy for SOPPA.
Okay, well, I mean, this is just for you to, hopefully, everybody had a chance to take a look at it, but it does stand for Student Online Privacy Act, the bottom line, but it is something that we have to take very seriously, and we actually approved the Learn platform 2 or 3 meetings before this that will help us monitor all of our websites, and we will have a spot on our main website beginning in July that has all of the online outlets that we utilize with students, and we will have to then make sure that every company is complying with the Privacy Act, and that we have on hand a contract that is signed by them that they are going to follow all of the rules of the online privacy. We cannot use a platform unless they sign this document. So this policy just outlines what the Privacy Act is, what we have to comply with as a district, and we also then have a really good plan for how we're going to do that. So as more board meetings come forward, we'll have a second reading of this policy, so please take the time between now and the next meeting. If you have any questions, we can hammer those out, but we are required to have a list of all of those programs that we use that give access to students online during the day. And that, it just says that we're not going to share, personal information out there on the web, and that the companies in turn will also comply with all of the acts all the pieces of the act.
So we were basically already following this, we're just have to put it all in, like, formality, so to speak.
Right, we've been aware of this act now for a couple of years, that it was coming and it would be active on July 1. There was a lot of conversation previous to it being passed, and when it was passed, we knew, and we've been preparing, reaching out to all of the companies. We've had confirmation from a majority. We have a couple holdouts that we're waiting for contracts back on, and we will continue to work on those. But the bottom line is, we can't use them if they don't sign their contract, so that we can be within the letter of the law.
Thank you, Superintendent. It appears we have no presentations this evening. So moving on to 9.1, business reports. Superintendent?
Hey, Mr. Fretz, they gave you your own table tonight?
Looks like you needed it.
President Mars, members of the board, wait for Ms. Hammers here to give her presentation. School board at the second page there. So as we started with last month, for Mr. Ringer's request, we want to present our cash roll forward for our capital projects fund for the month of May 2021. Beginning cash investments, $83.8 million. Total revenues of just under $800,000, which was mostly sales tax proceeds as well as a little bit of interest. Expenditures, $1.805 million. If you have the full detail of that in your package as well. And then we have a small adjustment transfer out for that cash investment that we have in the bank of $82.8 million. Next slide, please. This is our state receivables. This is as of June 3rd, 2021, and it's very similar to what we presented last time, actually. Just subtracted $190,309 outstanding to the state, which is incredibly wonderful for this time of year. And additional money to us at this time. I did want to present to you, this is actually not an original packet. We did get this in monetarily last Friday, on the 4th. We did receive our first tax payment from the county that Friday. And so we did receive a total of $27.84 million in our first payment this year. That's about 24, almost 25% of our total tax extension from the county. To kind of further explain this, the county pays us in 7 installments throughout the year, from the months of June, sometimes May, all the way through November. There's 7 installments. This is the first installment. You'll recall, I think tax bills went out about 4 weeks ago. So a nice sum of money coming in. At this point, compared to what we did last year at the same time, we got about $19.8 million, about the same time period last year. 2 years ago, which was more normal years, you'll recall, we received about $5.35 million first payment. But that payment was in May. Typically, that first payment comes in May. We moved back this year and we received our second payment actually about 2 weeks from this Friday. Excuse me, 20. August 18th will be our next meeting. Now, we'll have to following voting that day. Go to our final sheet here. I did want to give a quick update on our operating fund roll forward calculation. This is our final amended budget for vote tonight on the roll call agenda. As promised in the last board meeting, I want to include the updates, and essentially the bottom line numbers are not changed from what I presented at the prior board meeting, second board meeting in May. There are a few slight differences in the revenues and expenditures, only in the education and the O&M funds, or excuse the education and transportation funds, for a small reclassification for some of the CARES funding to tie into our final amended budget, or first amended budget for that particular plan. So the bottom line number that we are deficit at this point in our budget is just under $7.1 million for all of our operating funds for fiscal year 2021. Are there any questions?
I have a couple.
Sure.
Have we had to borrow against the line of credit for the insurance fund?
We have, yes.
We have.
Correct.
So will this allow us to repay that, part of it or all of it?
Yes, we actually can do that, and I'll probably do it right at the beginning of July, after we have 17, and then this fiscal year, we'll repay, and self-insurance come back to zero.
Okay. Kind of a tie-in question with this. It was my understanding, last I knew, that the Enos Park TIF district had not been reapproved, or I guess rolled over, or whatever they would do with that. Where do we stand with that, with the property tax monies that were being collected on that? Because if the TIF fund is no longer there, and I think it was maybe the intent to renew that, but it's not been. So what's happening with that property tax money? Do we know?
If that is not fully stated, then check on this. So yeah, that holds firm. We would receive a distribution on that, but I do not have that number. Research on that, but I think that's what it is.
I just didn't know if you had heard anything about it.
I have not received any word on what that cash out would be. I guess it would take some time to get that done.
Yeah, no worries.
Well, Superintendent, I believe under previous executive administrations with the city, we had an agreement that if a TIF fund was extended, that the city would pay the difference on the TIF to the district. So, so it's either going to be a situation where the TIF is going to go away and we're going to start receiving property taxes, or if the TIF is extended, the city will
They pay us a little bit along the way of what we would
Right.
get in the end, rather than waiting till the end
Right.
of the TIF to receive the lump sum. They would pay it throughout the course of the TIF.
But I believe
We have not
that all
heard
of the
about
TIF
the
monies for
extension
that,
yet.
I believe all the monies are committed already. So,
I will say that we did have the determination of Jefferson Crossing too, and we did receive $17,743 back.
I hadn't heard that. Good.
And the other one, just kind of coming down the pike, is the area for Madison Park Place TIF, and there is some talk about extension of that one, but I have not heard. That's the other one that's coming due in a relatively, I think, another year.
That's correct.
Thank you.
We'll go to 10.1, public hearing for the FY21 amended budget. I ask for a motion for the following, that the Board of Education adjourns into public hearing on the tax levy report, and that upon conclusion of such hearing, the board shall immediately reconvene into open session.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Hammers?
Lisset,
Aye.
Lael Wolf,
Aye.
Mars,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Ringer,
Aye.
Zimmers.
Aye.
Austin.
Aye.
That is 7 aye votes.
Superintendent Gill?
And Mr. Futz?
Yes, as I previously presented, amended budget summary was roll call piece, and no changes from what I presented last time around, except for the classifications, but the budget holds firm at $7.1 million deficit for our operational.
Any discussion? Ms. Hammers, you have to vote.
No, we can go back in.
Do we have a motion?
We don't need a motion.
We don't-
We don't-
Okay.
We don't
Well,
need a motion.
public hearing, is there any public comment with regards to the tax levy or the amended budget? Okay. At this point, the public hearing is closed, and we are moving back into open session. Superintendent Gill?
All right, I recommend consent action items. President Mars, members of the board, 11.2 through 11.9, as described in the corresponding resolutions.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Are you ready for the roll call?
Ms. Hammers?
Yes. Okay. Lael Wolf,
Aye.
Mars,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Ringer,
Aye.
Zimmers.
Aye.
Austin.
Aye.
Lisset.
Aye.
That is 7 aye votes.
Okay, we're going to 11, oh, is that right?
Yep, 1.1.
12.1?
Or, well, no.
12.1.
12.1.
12.1.
Yeah. that's
Superintendent
okay.
Gill.
Okay, Mrs. Sherman, for our personnel recommendations?
President Mars and members of the board, the superintendent recommends adoption of the personnel recommendations with the following changes. Letter E, change of assignment, classified, page 5, item 2. There was a start date was not included. It was June 8th, 2021. And now on the addendum, page 7, item 13, recommend approval of personnel for summer boost services. Please remove Amy Weaver and add Jennifer Bartletti for the cross-cap position. It was in error. And under paraprofessionals, please remove Susan Quigley, who declined the position to accept another position.
Any discussion? Ms. Hammers?
We need a motion and
So
a
moved.
second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
Any discussion now? Ms. Hammers?
Mars,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Ringer,
Aye.
Zimmers.
Aye.
Austin.
Aye.
Blissett.
Aye.
Lael Wolf.
Aye.
That is 7 ayes votes.
All right, moving on to 12.2, approval of the resolution of adoption of the amended budget for fiscal year 2021. We have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Superintendent?
Okay, Mr. Fritz?
President Mars, members of the board, the superintendent recommends adoption of the following resolution. Whereas the Board of Education of Springfield Public Schools, school district number 186, the county of Sangamon, state of Illinois, has accepted an amended budget for the fiscal year 2021, and the secretary of this board has made the same conveniently available for public inspection for at least 30 days prior to final action thereon. And whereas the public hearing was held as to such amended budget on the 7th day of June 2021, notice of said hearing having been given at least 30 days prior thereto as required by law, and all other legal requirements having been complied with, now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Education of said district that the amended budget for FY 2021 is hereby adopted for said fiscal year.
We have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Ms. Hammers?
Okay. Miller,
Aye.
Ringer,
Aye.
Zimmers.
Aye.
Austin.
Aye.
Blissett.
Aye.
Lael Wolf.
Aye.
Mars.
Aye.
That is 7 ayes votes.
Okay, moving on to 12.4, approval of the resolution to purchase property. Superintendent?
Okay, Mr. Fritz?
President Mars, members of the board, the superintendent recommends adoption of the following resolution. Whereas the Illinois School Code allows school districts to acquire real property, and whereas the Board of Education believes that it is advantageous to the district to purchase 6 lots contiguous with property already owned by the districts around Springfield High School, and whereas the Board of Education agrees that the 6 lots in question, various parcels 203-001, 002, 003, 004, 009, and 010 should be purchased in the total amount not to exceed $145,000. Whereas funds are available from the school county facility occupation tax, sales tax, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education directs the superintendent and her staff to negotiate the purchase of parcels 203-001, 2, 3, 4, 9, and 10 contiguous with existing district property at Springfield High School in an amount not to exceed $145,000.
Is there any discussion? Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Ms. Hammers?
Ringer.
Aye.
Zimmers.
Aye.
Austin.
Aye.
Blissett.
Aye.
Lael Wolf.
Aye.
Mars.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
That is 7 ayes votes.
Okay, moving on to 12.5, approval of travel expenses for board members for the state conference. That the Board of Education approves travel expenses as follows: to the IASB, IASA, IASBO Joint Annual Conference from November 18 through 21 in 2021. Registration, $499, hotel, $750, and transportation, $38. Each member attending, Sarah Blissett, Erica Austin, and Mr. Zimmers. Is there any discussion? A motion?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Hammers?
Zimmers.
Aye.
Austin.
Aye.
Blissett.
Aye.
Lael Wolf.
Aye.
Mars.
Aye.
Miller.
No.
Ringer.
Aye.
That is 6 aye votes and 1 no.
Did we need to address 12.4?
We already did.
Did you do those
Property.
together?
No, I did 12.3.
Oh, so
Oh,
we
I'm
skipped
sorry.
over to.
Oh, okay.
All right, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
yeah.
12.4, approval resolution to purchase property. Superintendent?
Mr. Fretz. The same thing with different plot numbers.
President Morris, members of the board, superintendent recommends adoption of the following resolution, whereas the Illinois School Code allows school districts to acquire real property, and whereas the Board of Education believes that it is advantageous to the district to purchase 4 lots contiguous with property already owned by the district around Springfield High School, and whereas the Board of Education agrees that the 4 lots in question, parcels 252-2, 3, 4, and 5, should be purchased in a total amount not to exceed $180,000. And whereas funds are available from the county school facility occupation tax, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education directs the superintendent and her staff to negotiate the purchase of parcels 252-2, 3, 4, and 5, contiguous with existing district property at Springfield High School, in an amount not to exceed $180,000.
Is there any discussion? Have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Hammers?
Just 1 second, please. Computer's catching up. Austin.
Aye.
Blissett.
Aye.
Lael Wolf.
Aye.
Mars.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Ringer.
Aye.
Zimmers.
Aye.
That is 7 aye votes.
12.6, student discipline. Superintendent?
Yeah, before I read that, I am going to introduce to you again, Lynn Williams, if you'd stand up. Many of you have met him. We are happy that in the personnel agenda tonight, we were able to name him supervisor of classified staff and student support services. So he'll work a little bit with Meg and a little bit with Meg Thurman in our student support services, and also Gina Sherman in our human resource department. Currently the AP at Lanphier High School. We couldn't be more proud to have you on board, and I look forward to working with you in sort of a new position that's going to really help us with a lot of our professional development for our paraprofessionals, and then working in HR to serve all of our classified staff as well. So welcome aboard. Do you want to introduce anybody or say a few words?
My wife here, Paula, and I just want to thank the board for this opportunity, and looking forward to starting the student family 186 to meet this event.
We did have some other administrative placements tonight, and they were unable to attend tonight, but Cheryl Doss will be our new director of scope. She was the guidance dean at Jefferson Middle School, and also Lori Harrison, who's the principal assistant at Fall Charter, currently is now going to be the new principal of the Early Learning Center. Hopefully they may be able to attend an upcoming board meeting so that all of you can meet them. And we also have Jennifer Anderson, who's one of our current RNs that will now be our health service manager for the district. So it was a thank you for that in the personnel agenda, and I wanted to make sure we honored those that were in the public. And then moving on to student discipline, Mr. Mars and members of the board, it is my recommendation that one 6th grade student be hereby expelled from further attendance at Jefferson Middle School through the end of the 21-22 school year. And I believe we're going to review that at the semester as well with the program. Okay? And we're also going to have services this summer as well. Thank you.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Ms. Hammers?
Blissett.
Aye.
Lael Wolf.
Aye.
Mars.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Ringer.
Aye.
Zimmers.
Aye.
Austin.
Aye.
That is 7 aye votes.
All right, 13.1, our next regular meeting will be June 21st, 2021. Executive session will begin at 5:30. And moving to public comment. The Board of Education and I encourage public comment and public participation in board meetings. However, it is inappropriate for any person to name a student or an individual employee, including designate an employee by job title rather than name in open session. If any public commentator wants to address issues related to an individual student or a District 186 employee, that commenter is invited to contact the board office or a member of the cabinet prior to public comment. It is not the intention of the board to discourage public comment in any way. Rather, it is the intention of the board to address issues regarding individual students and employees in an appropriate manner. We thank you for respecting the privacy of our students and employees by following this rule. Ms. Hammers, do we have anybody online today?
No.
Okay. We have a couple of speakers, or 3 speakers this evening. So, do we have Olivia Turner?
Does she want to come up with me and your sister?
Did you want to come up together, or did you want to speak individually?
Say both their names.
Olivia Turner and Chelsea Turner.
Welcome. So there's a microphone there, maybe just pull it down just a little bit, and that
Is it
way
on
they'll
me?
pick up on it. Perfect, thank you.
Hi, my name is, good evening, school board members. My name is Chelsea Turner. I will be a 5th grader at Isles Elementary School. I am speaking tonight about wanting a black teacher. I really like all of the teachers I've had at Isles Elementary School. There are only 2 black teachers at Isles. I haven't had a black teacher ever in the school district. I want a black teacher because I want someone that looks like me, and someone that will be able to relate to me as a black girl. I believe that a black teacher will be more understanding of the things that I may go through as a student, and I believe that black teachers benefit all students. When I was in 3rd grade, I was having trouble understanding my math. My teacher would help, but my mom found me a tutor who was a black teacher. She helped me to understand my math. She was very nice, and she took her time to walk me step by step through the math work. I hope the district will do more to hire black teachers. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you this evening.
Ms. John.
Well, thank you.
There you go.
School board members. My name is Olivia Turner. I am in Isles Elementary School student. I will be going into the 4th grade. Since I have been a student, I have never had a black teacher in the district 186. I want a black teacher because I want someone that looks like me and that I can relate to. I want a black teacher because I want to learn about my culture and understanding the school, and not just black people. And if I had a black teacher, I could actually black books and black people instead of reading my book. I don't like all the time to read black books. I hope the district works to hire more black teachers before I graduate high school. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you.
Thank you.
Okay, and we have another speaker, Mr. Kyle Klunick.
Mr. Klunick, you'll have 3 minutes, and I'll start the timer once you start speaking.
I taught 7th and 8th grade science at school last year, and I'm here because you have an opportunity to stand in the gap for some of our most vulnerable students, and because I found a massive discrepancy in some of the official documents for our district. So I'm going to read from those, page 22 of the 2021 Student and Family Handbook. Parents should, quote, safeguard the physical and mental health of their child and be responsible for public health examinations as required by law. And then on page 23, quote, parents have the right to share consistent communication between the classroom, school, and home, as well as reasonable access to all school records pertaining to their child so long as it does not violate another student's right to privacy. And then reading from the district's gender support plan, Quote, "The purpose of this document is to create shared understandings about the ways in which the student's authentic gender will be accounted for and supported at school." And then halfway down the page, quote, "Are guardians of this student aware and supportive of their child's gender transition, yes or no?" And again, quote, "If not, what considerations must be accounted for implementation of this plan?" And again, quote, "If the student's guardians are not aware and supportive of the child's gender status, how will school-home communications be handled?" And then the second page goes on about where they'd use the restroom and change clothes. So to sum up, though parents have the God-given responsibility and right to decide what's best for their own child's health, the school has in place an option where the student could be living at school in a completely different way than they are at home, aided and abetted by teachers and counselors in our district. And I've heard preferred names and pronouns used, even though I've been having home communications with given names and pronouns by the guardian. So please, my ask is that the program go away and we equip the counselors to partner with the parents to help the students live according to the body that they were given. Let the parents have the authority in the situation, just like the Lord and your own documents say they should. And at the very least, we can be transparent in the handbook saying that the parents have such and such rights and responsibilities, except for if your student decides he's not a he or she's not a she, in which case the school will take over in that realm and you won't know about it anyway. So, teenage girls have always struggled with their body image, whether it be anorexia, bulimia, cutting, and now transgenderism. And these things are wrong no matter what the state, no matter what society says. So please, let's do away with the program and care for the long-term health of our students instead of their short-term happiness. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Klinick. Is there any other business any members have before we move to adjournment? Well, you know, this last weekend is always one of the best weekends of the year. I think everybody, all board members, had the opportunity to celebrate 186, and the superintendent gave some great remarks with regards to the number of graduates in it. Mr. Zimmer's, you know, a very, very trying year for everyone. I was glad to be able to attend all of the graduations. You know, the excitement at the center with our 3 high schools graduating came pretty close to city tournament. So hopefully we can return back to city tournament and feel that buzz. And again, as Mr. Zimmer said a few minutes ago, I want to thank everybody, students, teachers, administrators, you know, our frontline workers that have been there for our students since, you know, March 15th of 2020. And I just wish everybody continued success, and I hope that our graduating seniors will remember they always have a place here in 186. Congratulations, Lions, Spartans, and Senators. Is there any other business? Seeing no further business to come before the board, the time is now 7:38. We are in adjournment until